reading has kind of slowed down recently, and so I thought it would be a good idea to like actually talk about the books that I've recently read and the books that I'm currently reading, just to kind of, I don't know, talk more about books, and maybe that'll get me to read more. I do have a lot of stuff going on in my life, so maybe that's, you know, that plays a factor into it. By the way, different background because I am actually in Melbourne. I'm going to be here for a couple of weeks. I'm not sure how long. I didn't buy a return ticket, but I'm staying at my sister's apartment, and yeah, let's just get into the books that I've recently read. The first book I actually completed for the contemporary-a-thon, and that book is This Song Will Save Your Life by Layla Sales. This is a coming-of-age story, and it follows a 15 or 16-year-old girl named Elise, and she's been feeling really lonely and sad. She's never really had a close group of friends. Ever since she was a very young age, she's been experiencing, you know, bullying in her school, and one of the things that she actually likes to do is to just go for walks at night. And so she would like sneak out of her house in the middle of the night with her iPod and just put earphones in and just start walking. She doesn't really have a destination to go to, she just likes to walk and listen to music, and that's kind of how she I don't know, deals with things. And one day when she's on this walk in the middle of the night, she sees like an underground club thing, and she goes in, and here is where she discovers her love for DJing. My overall thoughts on this book is that it reminded me a lot of classic YA, you know, the YA that we were getting from the years of like 2010 up to like 2014, but in the best way possible. I really liked that this was very character driven. I really liked that this talked about mental health and depression and suicide and loneliness in a way that didn't seem like it was trying to teach you something. I wouldn't say that Elise is one of the memorable characters that is gonna stick with me forever, but I did really like that this book was just a solid coming-of-age character-driven story. It didn't feel like, there were a couple of subplots within it, but it didn't feel like any of the subplots overshadowed the overall character plot, if that makes sense, because there were a lot of characters that played a role in Elise's life, but the story never took away the focus from Elise and what she was going through internally. And so having that said, I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. The next book that I completed for the contemporary-a-thon is Faking It by Cora Carmack. This is a new adult romance, and it follows the trope of fake dating and like fake relationships. So it follows a girl named Max, who is a very musical, gothy, punk kind of girl, bad girl, I guess you would say. Like, that's kind of what the synopsis is. And it also follows a male character named Cade, who is supposed to be the good boy. I use air quotes because I don't know, it seems very light, like everything. Anyway, so it's a fake relationships type story. So it starts off by Max living her life, following her dreams of becoming a successful musician in a band, and her parents don't approve of this, and one day her parents decide to visit. And the thing is, her parents are very conservative, and so they don't know that she has all these tattoos and she dyes her hair a lot, and like they would never approve of that. And so she has this like guitarist boyfriend that she obviously can't introduce to her parents. And so what happens is she meets Cade at a cafe, and she, asks him if he would be her fake boyfriend, just up until her parents go home for the weekend. And then the story goes on from there. I actually really enjoyed myself the first half of the book. I thought it was really cool. I really like the male character, Cade. I thought he was really cool. And Max didn't annoy me too much. But then it got to kind of the second half and all of the drama felt unnecessary. Like, I felt like the obstacles that they were putting on their own relationship seemed easily fixed. And so I didn't understand why they were making such a big deal out of it. That's kind of just how I felt. So yeah, I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. The third book I actually didn't complete for the contemporary-a-thon, but it is what's it called? Love Looks Pretty on You by Langleaf. It is a poetry collection, and I absolutely loved her previous poetry collection. I think it's called Sea of Strangers. It's one of my favorite like poetry books of all time. I tabbed it up, I annotated the heck out of it, but this one fell short for me. I don't know, something about it just didn't stick with me. I don't really know how to review poetry because I don't read a lot of them. I watch a lot of spoken word poetry on YouTube, and I love spoken word poetry, and I would love to like get more into like writing my own, and I have tried to do that. I just don't show anyone. Yeah, this one didn't stick with me, but I don't think that's like the poetry's fault. I think poetry is one of those things where you can't really, I don't know, you can't really rate it, you can't really review it. I don't know. Let me know what you think about like how to review poetry, because I don't know how to do that. Anyway, moving on to the book that I actually DNF'd for the contemporary-a-thon, and that book is Until Friday Night by Abby Glines. This is a young adult romance. Like, it's straight up romance. It's not like it's not like a contemporary coming of age or anything. It's actual romance, and it follows 2 characters. One of them is, I've forgotten her name. I don't know her name. But she moves into town, and she has this tragic backstory about her life, and that's why she's living with her cousin now. And then it also follows a male character who's a football player, and his name is Wes. His name is Wes? Is it Wes or West? I can't remember. But he has stuff going on in his life as well. And because he's so popular, he doesn't really want to break that image of himself in school, so he doesn't talk about his problems with anyone that he knows. And when he meets this girl who has had this tragic backstory, oh, I don't know if I mentioned, but the girl is actually mute, and so she doesn't talk because of the trauma that she's gone through. And so when he meets her, he's like, oh, I can open up to her because she won't tell anyone because she doesn't speak. And so that's kind of how their story starts, and that's how they meet. I talked a lot about this in my like February vlog, so I might put a clip of that in. My foot is asleep. I might put a clip of that in just because I don't really want to repeat myself. Because I don't remember. Whenever I DNF a book, I don't want to talk about it anymore because I DNF'd it, so I don't care. So I will put a clip of that in right now. Basically, without spoiling anything, they meet and they instantly say that they have this instant connection, which I thought is really fast. It's not really insta love, but it is like, it's annoying how quickly they are, because I feel like if these 2 characters were just attracted to each other, that makes sense. Like, you quickly get attracted to someone very quickly on as soon as you meet them. That's just how that works, and I understand that, except this is more than an attraction, and they keep beating us over the head about the fact that they have this instant connection and they have this deep like connection that the two of them only have with each other, and I don't like that about it. I also don't like how misogynistic the male characters in this book. I don't like the way they speak to each other. I don't like the way they speak about females in the books. It's just especially about the way that all of the football players speak towards like Maggie and her looks, and it just irks me, because it was like I was reading this page about them discussing how pretty she is and how the fact that she doesn't talk is a bonus, and like that irks me because it went on for way too long. Anyway, moving on from that onto my currently reading, I actually found a book that I am really enjoying, and it follows, I wouldn't say it follows a similar premise, but it does follow a similar starting off point in a story, and that book is First and Then by Emma Mills. This is a young adult contemporary story, and it follows this girl named Devon who is in her last year of high school, and she is one of those people that just don't know what to do with her life after high school. She's like, well, I guess I'll go to uni because that's what my parents want me to do, but she hasn't really found something that she's super passionate about. The story starts off when her cousin, what's his name? Oh my god, I forgot his name. He's one of my favorite characters. I forgot his name. But her cousin, who is a couple of years younger than her, moves in with them. And this new change in her life is kind of the catalyst for everything that happens. I don't really know how to explain it, but the back of the book does say that it is Pride and Prejudice meets Friday Night Lights. So I think this is inspired by, or I don't think it's a full-on retelling of Pride and Prejudice, but I think there are some Pride and Prejudice elements in it, especially with one of the male characters that is, I guess, is the love interest. He reminds me a lot of Colin Firth's Mark Darcy in Bridget Jones's Diary. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm not that far in. I think I'm like 14 chapters in. Yeah, I'm up to chapter 14. The next book that I'm currently reading is actually a reread, and that book is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. I read this for the first time. I listened to it on audio because I really like listening to nonfiction on audio. But I think I listened to it last year or the year before, I can't remember. But I finally caved because I like this book so much, and I bought myself a physical copy, and so I thought I would like reread it while also annotating it. So I'm having a wonderful time annotating this book. I really like it. I'm up to chapter 6. If you're looking for a good nonfiction book, I highly recommend this one because it's really good. I also highly recommend the audiobook because the narrator is really funny, and I think the sarcasm and the sass really shines through with his narration. So yeah, anyway, that is all from me today. Let me know what you are currently reading or what you have recently been enjoying down in the comments below, because I'd love to know. And I hope you're having a great day, and you will see me in another video soon.